Stop looking at the person next to you that you don't even know is anything different than you. Because does it matter?
No.
Not a bit.
Welcome to the By Reason of Insanity podcast. I'm your host, Devin.
And I'm Jeremy.
And we're back in the studio this week together.
Ooh.
Yeah.
First time in I don't know how long, been a month or so.
Yes, it has. So Jeremy's been out on the road, as you all know, if you listen to the past couple episodes. But
and if you have, thank you.
Yes, thank you. And if you haven't, go give them a listen. But we want to kind of move away from that vein.
Well, to a degree.
To a degree. And we want to move in a different direction, unassociated with the People's Convoy, and just on a societal and world scale in general, talk about freedom and talk about where our society stands today. And I know if all of you are anything like us, no matter what side of the fence you're on, you are extremely displeased and disheartened at the state of the world today.
Yeah, I think that our world, our country, all of it, I mean, just the entirety of it is
humanity. I just don't have words for how to describe the divisive nature of where we're at in the world today.
Oh, I mean, I guess I can put it into a point like this. We currently live in a culture that, at a whim, corporations, bureaucrats, cancel culture, media can literally end someone's existence financially, if they so choose, emotionally, if they so choose, with very simple process. That's a pretty scary place to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'll be honest, it makes me mad. You know, right now I'm really trying to contain myself. I've seen a lot and witnessed a lot over the last few weeks, last month or so, and I knew there was a problem. I didn't know how extreme that problem was. I think I was kind of blind, like a lot of people are in general, to just how far-reaching and how extreme the division in this country has become.
I just don't know how we got to this point, to be honest. To the point where family members won't talk to each other because of differing opinions. To the point where we have segregation again, where there's
there's people willingly asking for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a matter of, like, people are begging to be segregated again. Like, that's some kind of cure. And
I mean, what of value can you gain from that?
What of value can we gain? Absolutely zero. But what of value can our government, bureaucrats, corporations, media, what can they gain? A whole hell of a lot. My supposition on this one would be essentially this. So if you and I are fighting over things that have absolutely no bearing on anything in the grand scheme of reality, whether that be race, gender, religion, political affiliations, because none of it really matters at the end of the day, and we're fighting over those things, what aren't we doing?
Yeah. Being involved, critical thinking, living our lives.
Well, being involved, like our founding fathers said that we needed to be involved, because let's call it what it is. Our country's not supposed to be being run the way it is. Constitution gave us a system that's run from the bottom up, not the top down.
Yeah, I think it was Ronald Reagan that said, freedom is no more than a generation away or from disappearing.
You have a republic if you can keep it.
There's quite a few like that, and there's a reason there's quite a few like that, because it's true in all reality that unless we stand for our rights and our freedoms, they will be taken away. And we've seen that over the course of history, not just the history of the United States, but the history of the world. If you want to talk about Jeremy's point about how we're fighting over these arbitrary things to distract us, if you look back through history to the Roman Empire, the reason the Colosseum was started was to distract the people, to give them entertainment. Through part of the Roman Empire's worst point in history, when there was massive inflationary periods and civil unrest, and the empire was in trouble, what they used that as a means of distraction. They gave away free bread to attract the people to the Colosseum, to give them entertainment, to take their mind away from everything else going on in the society.
Sounds like football, if you ask me.
Yeah, and so you look at the NFL, you look at all the major sports leagues, you look at Netflix, you look at the cell phone in your hand. It's nothing but a distraction from the world around us. If we're engaging with artificial things that have no bearing in the real reality of things, it doesn't matter who wins that sports game or loses that sports game.
Nope.
It doesn't matter who liked your Facebook post or who didn't like it. That has no consequence on the direction of your life or the direction of the world in general. Yet we place such a high value on it as a society.
I want to place a high value on this, and I want to read something here. And I think a lot of people have forgotten this. And if you'd like to check out what I'm about to read, you can go to the government archives and you can read it yourself. But we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable and unalienable rights, that among these, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed, which is us, by the way. They get their ability to do what they're doing because we allow it for no other reason. That is from the Declaration of Independence. Our founding fathers knew exactly what we would be dealing with. I wonder why.
Why?
Power, money, oligarchs who think that they're above society in general terms, who believe that they have the right to rule over everyone, that they're somehow better than the rest of humanity. I mean, look at the last, how many trillions of dollars have been printed in the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years?
God, even just in the last 2 years, it's
like $15 trillion or something like that. More money than actually exists in the entire world in the last 2 years has been printed.
I think we printed more in the last 2 years than we had since the beginning of the country.
Yeah, since the establishment of this country, we printed more in 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, where the hell is that going to? Because it sure didn't come to me. Sure didn't go to you. Well, and, we're talking about all these negatives, but there's a reason. If these types of things aren't going to wake you up to get off the fence, to get off the bench, and be a voice that is heard, and stand up for what is yours, it's your birthright. Anyone that's alive right now in this country, these are birthrights.
Anyone who's become a citizen of the country.
Yes, anyone who's a citizen anyone who's a citizen of this country. It is your right. These are your rights that are being held back. I am 47 years old. I've lived half of my life. But I have children. Don't know about anybody else, but I'd love to see my children have the same advantages or better than I did. And I can tell you with what I see, by the time my kids get to their mid-20s, my oldest, they'll be lucky if there's any freedom left in this country. But that's because people aren't standing up. People have just allowed and to be told how we're going to do what we're going to do. Because we have the ability. Because I'm going to tell you like this, there's a whole hell of a lot more of us. And I don't mean conservatives. I don't mean liberals. I mean human beings in this country than there are bureaucrats and power brokers.
Yeah, I don't think it matters what side of whatever you're on.
No, it doesn't.
No one's happy with the current state of affairs in the world. And we've kind of got to this point where, I'm sitting here like, it's so big. How do we do anything about it? And it's like a crushing weight to think that we let it get to this point where this changes is when people start to get involved. I'm talking about getting involved at your local level. I'm talking about grassroots.
That's absolutely correct. Okay, I don't know if we said this or not in this, but
the way our country was designed was to be ruled from the ground up. That bottom point is the people.
All the people.
All of the people, correct.
We the people means all the people.
And so
doesn't matter whether it's gay, straight, Christian, Muslim, black, white, Republican, Democrat. It doesn't matter it's the people.
I could care less what you believe.
Same here. Well, that right there is the first step. First step, people need to put the divisiveness away. That has to be the first step. Turn off the mainstream media because that's all you're going to get there. You're not going to get anything beneficial or positive from it. So start there. Turn that crap off. Secondly, stop looking at the person next to you that you don't even know is anything different than you. Because does it matter?
No.
Not a bit. But I can tell you, sitting on the sidelines and watching it happen, and I'm going to say this is very harsh, but it's the truth. If you're sitting there and you're watching it and allowing it to happen, you're just as guilty. You are accepting what is being done.
I think that's human nature, and that's part of the problem. And the powers that be know that human nature, and it said as much in that
in the Declaration of Independence that humans will suffer, that we will suffer to a degree until it starts to affect our.
Yeah, it's that we'd rather. It's the devil that you know versus the devil you don't, basically.
Correct. It's the fear of the unknown.
And that we get comfortable. But back to this point, that it's from the local level up. And that's where change starts.
It absolutely. Listen, I said this to someone not too long ago. You can cut the head off the snake 1,000 times. But when you're talking about a tree, you can cut the top off. It just keeps growing. The only way to remove that and to actually kill it is remove the root. You have to remove the root, and that means working from the bottom up. And there's enough like-minded people, I think, in this country now to get rid of a lot of the evil that's impacting this country.
I don't know, though, because you have major bars to entry into political office now, namely capital. How much it costs to run an election now. Entirely corrupt.
Mm-hmm. We have the ability, we have the power to start at our local levels in all of our towns, all of our cities, and put people, vote people into positions that have the best interest of the next generation and the generation after that in a position to make those changes.
And that's the thing about grassroots organization. It's more powerful than any dollar amount, any corporate entity or government affiliate or any entity could shell out, because the hearts and minds of the people are ultimately what decide the direction of where we're at.
Crazy world we're living in, folks. But like I said, everyone needs to take a long, hard look at themselves. Take a long, hard look at what you believe. Take a long, hard look at what you want for your future and your children's futures, and decide whether you're content to sit there and let what's happening continue to happen. Yeah, it's dark stuff, and I know it's scary stuff. A lot of people I don't think a lot of people think they're emotionally equipped to deal with it. That's why they don't. But I can tell anyone that's listening to this and is still listening, you're emotionally equipped to deal with it. But it's a decision you have to make. No one can make it for you. I can't make it for you. Devin can't make it for you. Your mommy and daddy can't make it for you. You have to make it yourself. You have to decide what is the route, how you want to live, and what you're willing to live with.
Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this discussion. I know it was a deep one and not easy to hear. And if you're finishing this podcast, we greatly appreciate you listening.
Yeah. On a lighter note, apologize to anyone who we may not have commented or responded to comments that may have been received from some of the other podcasts. We've been really busy. And hey, I am sorry for where I'm at right now, but this is how I feel. And I feel it's something we all need to kind of be thinking about. It's, we need to really be considering the future and how we can deal with it. So I'm going to say amen to that.
Yep. Thank you all for listening.